Broadcasting live from our studio in Boston, Solutions Review is proud to showcase Infinidat in the Solution Spotlight, a unique online event for industry professionals.
I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and welcome to the Solution Spotlight featuring Infinidat, and focused on how to withstand and recover from cyber attacks. The question is not, will you suffer a cyber attack, but when and how often? No wonder in the most recent Fortune 500 CEO survey, cybersecurity was the number 2 threat CEOs said their companies faced. To safeguard the continuity of your business, cyber resilient storage and modern data protection technology play a critical role in your overall cybersecurity strategy. This solution spotlight will give you an inside look at how Infinidat's InfiniSafe cyber storage capabilities, plus highly granular and accurate threat detection, can be coupled with guaranteed rapid recovery capabilities to help you create cyber resilient storage environments that can withstand and recover from cyber attacks. And joining us from Silicon Valley to walk you through the Infinidat solution is Eric Herzog, Chief Marketing Officer at Infinidat. Eric, thanks for being with us.
Doug, thank you very much. Always love joining Solutions Review. It's a great opportunity to show the end users what Infinidat can do and how we can keep them always cyber resilient.
Well, we've known each other for a while. You've been in a few of our previous Insight Jams when you were at IBM, actually, and I always admire your LinkedIn profile. Before we get going, give everybody a little bit of background about how you ended up at Infinidat and what you think the opportunity is.
Sure. So I've been in storage a long time. I'm almost 70 years old, been in storage for over 40 years, worked for big companies. I've actually was at IBM twice. They bought one of my startups. I was at EMC. I was in the hard drive business at both Seagate and Maxtor, Fortune 500 companies in the hard drive space. But I've also done 8 small companies and startups. Thank goodness 5 of them have been acquired. One of them, of course, is Infinidat. We have incredible enterprise storage technology. That's what attracted me. I love small companies. Not that I didn't love IBM or EMC as well, but small companies allow you to roll up your sleeves, get dirty, get really down in the mud and slug it out with the competition. That's always the most fun for me. So that's why I came to Infinidat, award-winning solutions, leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. The analysts rave about us. So made it very easy to transition from what IBM delivered, nice technology, but here we've got unmatched solutions for the enterprise.
Yeah, and honestly, I want to get right to it because this is perhaps the most searched solution that we see at Solutions Review. It really is top of mind for everybody, protecting the enterprise through cybersecurity. To set everybody's expectations, I'm going to let Eric take it from here, and he's going to bring in one of his solution architects to walk through some of the detailed demonstration of the Infinidat solution. I'm going to jump back in at the end. I'm going to have a few questions myself, and then we'll wrap it up from there. So Eric, I'm going to throw it to you, and I'll catch up with you when you were all done with the demo.
Great. Well, thank you. Well, we really appreciate everyone joining us today. As you know, cyber attacks are not going away. In fact, this year alone, it's expected to cost enterprises $8 billion. And in fact, in the recent Fortune 500 survey coming out in June of 2023, after recession, only 3 percentage points less of a concern for the CEOs was cybersecurity. So it's very clear that these risks are exploding. The average enterprise suffers 1,168 cyber attacks a week. No kidding. And both the United States government and the EU, as well as many other countries across the world, have enacted cybersecurity strategies and a number of cybersecurity laws. Of course, in the US, the most recent update was March of 2023, and the EU announced their Cyber Solidarity Act, which is very similar to the United States National Cybersecurity Strategy in April. It is continuing to be a big area of investment. So if you're in the storage side or the generic IT side, or even the CIO or the CISO, 48% of the CEOs are increasing their investment in cybersecurity. And of course, attacks are going unabated. But you know what? It's great that I've got these wonderful slides, but I think that Joe Roa should join me today, and he's going to do a live demo. Yeah, it's great that we can talk about all these things in slideware, but you know what? Showing those demos is worth 100,000 words and hopefully presenting you from 100,000 cybersecurity attacks. Joe, take it away.
Thank you, Eric. I am happy to do so. So today what we're going to be demonstrating is an InfiniGuard InfiniSafe recovery. And I'll explain what the InfiniSafe is in just a moment. What you're looking at here is a Veeam backup infrastructure. You can see I have a backup job here that runs on iBox 2373. And this is actually an NFS target on the InfiniGuard. This backup job contains several VMs with lots of recovery points. So what I wanted to do was kind of show you what you're looking at here. We've got here a list of VIB files. Those are the backup files in the Veeam environment. I am currently mounted on that share, and the apparent size of this environment is reporting 20 petabytes of data before deduplication and compression. So this is a very large Veeam repository representing a ton of capacity in the InfiniGuard. Let me go ahead and take you to the InfiniGuard. I'll show you exactly what we're talking about here. This is my InfiniGuard environment, and if I go into my configuration, you will see that this is the share that we're talking about here. In my InfiniSafe environment, I have an automated schedule of snapshots. And when these snapshots are listed as locked, they are immutable. And in contrast to our competition, we do have competition that has the ability to create immutable snapshots. They typically run on the share level or the M tree level. When we run our snapshot protection, we protect the entire deduplication engine in the environment and all the data and configuration details within it and the logs, etc. And we do that without compromise of granular recovery. Now, I can take a snapshot ad hoc at any time, or I can select a snapshot and simply hit recover. So before I do that, I want to do some damage to this infrastructure here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead as an admin that is has a tendency to make mistakes. I am going to delete all this data on that share. That's a pretty catastrophic a situation for myself and my company, of course. If I go back and I look at the apparent size of this share, now it's 0. If I look at for the files, you can see the files no longer exist. So I've created a situation now that is a panic situation, and I just want to show you how easy it is for an administrator to go back in time and select any one of these point in time automated snapshots, simply hit the recover button, and off it goes. Now I'm going to time this, so I'll hit a timer here, and we'll see how long it takes to recover this data. And this will take several minutes. So Eric, at this point, I will go ahead and pass it back to you.
Well, thank you, Joe. What Joe just did is mimic a cyber attack. If you have someone trying to hold you for ransom, they're going to basically get rid of the files, block them out. They're usually encrypted, of course, so that you cannot access them. Joe basically just replicated that, and we're going to see how fast it is. By the way, you're going to be astounded at how quickly 20 petabytes of Veeam backup data, and by the way, that backup data could have been Commvault, it could have been Veritas or another backup vendor, but you're going to be astounded. And in fact, I'm going to do a little bit of a spoiler. We guarantee in writing that the recovery time, regardless of data that size on the InfiniGuard for a data recovery of an immutable snap is under 20 minutes. But let's go ahead. Let's talk a little about what we're doing and how we're implementing cybersecurity and how we're helping reduce the risks of malware, ransomware, and the impact on your business. Now, first, let's do a quick overview of our solutions. Our InfiniSafe technology works on all of our 3 platforms. Joe started a demo on the InfiniGuard, which is a secondary purpose-built backup appliance that works with all the major backup vendors. Our InfiniBox solution is a hybrid array. It was the founding product for the company. We also offer the InfiniBox SSA, which is an all-flash configuration. The key thing is we run one operating system, our InfuseOS, across all 3 of those environments. So the InfiniSafe technology that Joe just showed you, A, it's included for free in your InfiniGuard, your InfiniBox, or your InfiniBox SSA. You get it for nothing. And B, it traverses everything. So all of our other software technology, our enterprise class data services, our NeuroClash, our AIOps technology also is across all 3 of our platforms. And in May, we announced a hybrid cloud edition, our InfuseOS Cloud Edition, which allows you to take a full instantiation of the InfuseOS and run it in an AWS instance. Now, the benefits of our solutions are well documented with our lower TCO and rapid ROI, our autonomous automation. We have several customers in our Gartner Peer Insights. By the way, we were the customer's choice for the 4th year. Talk about how they've had an InfiniBox or InfiniBox SSA or InfiniGuard and haven't touched it in years. No kidding. This leads us to our set it and forget it IT operations. Everything is done automatically and autonomously. There's very little storage management, which of course reduces your operational expense and your time. Our solutions are very, very, very high performance, which by the way, we guarantee. What that allows us to do is broad consolidation. For example, we have a customer in the United States in the retail area, roughly $25 billion in revenue. They consolidated 24 different arrays from 3 different vendors to 4 InfiniBox solutions. That's right, 24 to 4. Talk about saving on CapEx, on OpEx, reducing your total cost of ownership. We also, on the InfiniBox and the InfiniBox SSA, provide a 100% availability guarantee. And we already talked about our cyber resilience guarantees and our performance guarantees as well. But again, don't believe me, believe the end users. I would strongly encourage you to, after you see and after you have heard what we're doing today, to take a look at the Gartner Peer Insights. They're public. This is a quote from one of the enterprise end users. The bulk of our customers, by the way, are in the Fortune 2000. In fact, we publicly disclosed last year that over 25% of the Fortune 50, which are the 50 biggest companies on the planet, use solutions from Infinidat. Now let's go deeper on our InfiniSafe technology. Our InfiniSafe technology has 5 elements. At the legs of the stool, so to speak, which are free, are our immutable snapshots, which Joe talked about. We create a logical air gap, which separates management plane and data plane. We can do that locally, we can do that remotely, or we can do it both ways. We provide a fenced forensic environment. So you've had an attack. Well, you don't just want to restore, because unlike King Kong, who pounds his chest and screams, they don't do that when they're trying to hold you for ransom or trying to destroy your data with malware. So you want to make sure that the immutable snap does not have malware or ransomware in it. So you have a fenced forensic environment. Our recovery is near instantaneous. As I mentioned already on the InfiniGuard, and you're going to see a demo of this, as you saw, Joe started it already, recovery in under 20 minutes. And on our InfiniBox and InfiniBox SSA primary storage platforms, that recovery is under a minute. Now we wrap all of this with our capability of doing cyber detection. That cyber detection can serve in 2 ways. A, as an early warning system, we can scan the snapshots or files or block data or databases to see if there is an anomaly and something appears to be malware or ransomware to help warn you. Or, of course, once you've had an attack, you need to put candidates into the fenced forensic environment, run cyber detect to make sure you have a known, clean, good copy before you do a recovery. Now, we've been doing our InfiniSafe technology for many years now. We started off in 2022. We started with the InfiniGuard, which is why Joe did the demo first. We were the first in cyber resilience solution for primary storage with a guarantee. We did the first guaranteed cyber resilience recovery times, which we've discussed already. And we've also made sure that we guarantee the validity of the recovery because the immutable snap is advanced immutable. So you can see what we've done over the timeline of the last year and a half. with our award-winning InfiniSafe technology, which has won several awards from both storage industry analysts and also from the storage press. Now, we can put it, as I mentioned, either on primary storage or InfiniBox or InfiniBox SSA, or in secondary storage. And you could do that two ways. Several customers use our InfiniGuard, our purpose-built backup appliance. But we also have, because our InfiniBox is a hybrid array and can be up to 20 petabytes in a single rack, we have a number of customers that use the InfiniBox as a backup target device. In either case, you are going to get cyber storage resilience technology with our snaps, with our air gap, with our fence forensic environment, and our instantaneous recovery. And you're going to get all of our guarantees, both the immutability of the snapshot and the guaranteed recovery times, whether it be on the InfiniGuard, on the InfiniBox, or the InfiniBox SSA platforms. Now, we make sure that we can provide protection for the entire backup storage. As you know, Joe talked about not only the data set, but also the metadata information, the log files, and everything you need. We can do granular recovery, or you can do a massive recovery. Of course, with our cyber recovery, you can put it into a standby instance, which you see on the far right side of the screen, and you can go ahead then and make sure you have a known good copy. And we make sure that we can synchronize the backup service catalogs and information as part of our InfiniSafe immutable snapshot technology. Now, we also provide, of course, logical and remote air gapping. We make sure that everything is separated between the management plane and between the data plane. We also make sure that you can replicate that data. And in fact, the days of a backup data center are long gone. All data centers serve both for primary storage and backup. So in this case, you'd have data center 1 backing up to data center 2, and you'd have the same thing with the replication going from data center 2 back to data center 1. So given that remote air gapping, you can run the testing in either environment. So because you've got a duplicate of that immutable snapshot in data center 2, that was from data center 1, and data center 1 from data center 2, you can go ahead and test in either location. It's up to you. And we do encourage people to treat malware and ransomware just like a real disaster. Fire, flood, earthquake, tsunami, whatever it is that can threaten your data, and you would do a disaster recovery test. Malware and ransomware is a disaster. We really encourage you to make sure, just as you practice disaster recovery and business continuity once a month or once a quarter, you should be doing the exact same thing with InfiniSafe, whether it be on the InfiniGuard, the InfiniBox, or the InfiniBox SSA. Our fence forensic environment can be a private network on our InfiniGuard technology. We have a standby node that's already embedded in every one of our InfiniGuards. And you can use that to actually execute a recovery. That's right. Unlike our competitors, most of which can also try to do recoveries, but it requires you to buy 2 of their systems. So that means twice the CapEx and twice the operational expense to do what we can do with one box, and do it with award-winning cyber storage resilience technology. Now, as I mentioned, we guarantee everything. We were the first vendor to have a guarantee on cyber resilience for primary storage over a year ago. Yes, 1 or 2 people have announced since then, but the bulk of the storage vendors you may look at do not provide a guarantee. And there's only 3 of us now. We did it before anybody else. We guarantee the immutability of the snapshots as well as the recovery time. Again, on the InfiniBox and the InfiniBox SSA, under a minute, and on the InfiniGuard, 20 minutes or less. We, of course, also make sure we offer 100% availability guarantee on our primary storage boxes, the InfiniBox and the InfiniBox SSA2. And we provide a performance guarantee on the InfiniBox and the InfiniBox SSA2. You want to make sure that you can do the right level of consolidation. You want to make sure that your applications, your workloads, and your use cases all get the proper treatment from the storage to meet your software SLAs and what you need to deliver to your customers, whether they be external customers or the internal constituents that you need to serve as part of your IT environment. Now, we did announce something new at the end of May. This is our InfiniSafe cyber detection. We've got our 4 primary legs of the stool that are free. And then for a minor fee, we offer this InfiniSafe cyber detection technology. It will allow you to look at storage elements such as volumes or snapshots. You can look at databases, Oracle, SAP, SQL, or you could do it at the file level. You could be looking at contracts. You could be looking at financial documentations. You pick what you want to scan and what you want to do to scan that data for malware or ransomware technology. Now, as an early warning detection solution, you could do it two ways. You could do that early warning detection on your InfiniBox or InfiniBox SSA as an individual. You can decide I want an immutable snapshot of 100 terabytes on each of those. Obviously, the data would be different on each one. You could then scan them on a regular basis. Let's say you're doing the snapshot 3 times a day. Maybe you want to do the cyber detection once a day, or maybe you do it every other day. Or you can consolidate and take all of the elements that you want to do cyber detection on and move them to a dedicated cyber detection environment. The key thing, though, is once you've done that scanning, it provides an early warning system. Yes, you have early warning already with your edge protection on your servers, on your networks, and often through your application layer. But remember, almost all of the data that runs your enterprise ends up on your enterprise storage. So there's no reason not to be using it as an early warning detection system to help you and have a comprehensive cybersecurity and cyber detection strategy across all elements of your IT infrastructure, not just the edge or not just the network, but everything. And storage is critical because all of your data ends up on your storage. So you don't want to leave that as a gap in a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy. Now, you also can take a look at things and do it as a detection solution when you're doing recovery. As you know, we create a fence forensic environment. You can see that in the red, and you can use the scanning to scan there to get a known good copy. The last thing you want to do is think you've cleared up that malware or ransomware off your primary servers and apps and then recovered the data sets filled with either malware or ransomware. And again, it's all done surreptitiously. It's the ultimate James Bond or Jason Bourne or whoever is your favorite secret agent that you track in the movies or you track as you read your novels. No one is out there like King Kong beating their chest and saying, I'm going to hold you for ransom. That is until they're ready to hold you for ransom. So you want to make sure that you can get a known good copy. So you could use it for early warning detection you saw on the previous slide, or you can use it to scan the fenced forensic environment and make sure you are using a known good copy before you execute that recovery. Again, if it's on the InfiniGuard, guaranteed in under 20 minutes. And if it's on the InfiniBox and the InfiniBox SSA, guaranteed in under 1 minute. I kid you not. Now, what we do is we imbue our InfiniSafe cyber detection with a machine learning model. There's over 200 analytics that represent changes in the file content and the meta, and we do it over time, of course. So if you were taking a snapshot. Yeah, what is it, Joe?
Is it okay if I interrupt you and share my screen? I'd like to show that it's completed.
Wow, great. Go ahead.
Okay, so what you're looking at here is the snapshot recovery message. So I'll go ahead and exit out of that. That means that I have recovered the InfiniGuard deduplication engine to this point in time. So I'll go back to my share, and you can see that all my Veeam files are back. And if again I look at the apparent size of that repository that's mounted back on the Veeam server, we'll get a report here. Yeah, it's showing 20 petabytes. So I have recovered 20 petabytes of nominal protected data in Veeam in less than 20 minutes. I'll go back to my screen and take a look at, I stopped the stopwatch as soon as it finished. So it recovered that in 13 minutes and 39 seconds. The actual recovery of the snapshot is instantaneous. Of course, that's using the InfiniBox technology. The only thing that takes that additional 13 minutes is the booting and validation of the engine in that point in time. So this is why we're able to guarantee that in less than 20 minutes. And it doesn't matter if you're running Veeam or Commvault or NetBackup or Networker or Spectrum Protect. It really doesn't matter what your backup application is, or if you're backing up data directly to the InfiniGuard with DB2 or RMAN plugins. Essentially, this is a unique and game-changing technology that really helps our administrators sleep at night.
Well, that's incredible. You saw it here live, 13 minutes and 39 seconds. That is incredible. And as Joe pointed out, one of the things you noticed is that's only because of the rebooting of the InfiniGuard on our built-in device that can help you with your forensic environment without having to pay for two machines, which our competitors require you to do to try to do a recovery. And as he mentioned, if we didn't have to do that, it would be under 1 minute. Incredible. Now, let's go back to the cyber detection machine learning model. You have over 200 analytics that are looked at. These are fed into a machine learning algorithm. That algorithm, by the way, also takes into account existing known malware or ransomware. So if the Herzog Mafia happens to have a known ransomware vehicle, that can be incorporated into the InfiniSafe cyber detection. Then if the Joe Roa cyber mafia creates a ransomware attack vector, it can be compared with the InfiniSafe cyber detection technology to the existing known Herzog Mafia ransomware. So not only do you look at the 200 analytics, but just as the way antivirus software looks at known viruses, it also, in the case of the InfiniSafe cyber detection, can look at known ransomware attack vectors and compare what's going on as it does its analysis. It goes through this machine learning technology, looking at those 200 analytics plus the known malware and ransomware that has in set. It compares both pre and post attack environments. What is it doing? And so what we end up with is a model that is 99.5% effective at understanding whether A, you're using it for early warning detection, or B, using it to get a known good copy after you've already had a cyber instance. Now, we make sure that this flows correctly. We use APIs to integrate and automate. In fact, not only do you use that in what we do with InfiniSafe cyber detection, looking automatically at the immutable snaps created by native InfiniSafe, but we also make sure that you can use those APIs to integrate into a SOC if you have one, or into any data center security monitoring package you may use. We make sure that we look at things over time. We do those security analytics, not only comparing to existing known malware and ransomware vectors, but another 200 data points that we look at to be indicative of a cyber attack. We run through a machine learning algorithm, and then we, of course, can detect that corruption or suspicious activity and let you know. And you can even download, as you're going to see in a second, from our dashboard, and you could go ahead and download and then look at that, for example, in a spreadsheet and do specific analysis ahead of time. In fact, this is our cyber detection post-attack dashboard. It's organized by severity, as you see in the top left of the dashboard: critical, high, and medium. Details of the suspected corruption. You could click on anything and then it will tell you what it sees, why it sees it, what's going on. You can create customizable charts if you want. Most importantly, with the information, you could feed this into either a SOC if you've got one. You don't have a SOC and you have some sort of data center wide or data centers wide. Obviously, many of our customers, again, are in the global Fortune 2000. So they're very large, often have multiple data centers. So whatever you're using to run your security infrastructure across everything, we, again, can take the information that comes up in the dashboard and feed that via an API into your SOC or into that comprehensive cyber detection capability that you're using across everything in your data center. And of course, as I mentioned, you can download the files that give you a list. You can then do analytics on that list, what's going on over time, what's happening. So you can do that as well, all with InfiniSafe cyber detection technology. Now, again, you've heard a lot from us today. You've seen an incredible demo, a recovery in 13 minutes and 39 seconds of 20 petabytes. Yes, not 20 gig, not 20 terabytes, but 20 petabytes of backup data, which could have been from any vendor. But you know what? What matters is what the end users think. These reviews are available from Gartner. There's over 500 of those reviews available across our platforms. You can see our ratings. We achieved the Peer Insights Customer's Choice for 2023 for the fourth time. We are, as again, one of the customers in the banking industry, again, a Fortune 500 company said, we are the golden standard for enterprise storage. Yes, we may be small. We may not be one of the big storage vendors, but we service the most demanding customers across the planet in the financial sector, large government agencies, large manufacturers, banking, insurance, telcos, which of course always need to be up and running, utilities in the utility area. And coincidentally, we do very, very well with the small and medium CSPs, MSPs, and MHPs. They, of course, are trying to compete with the big boys, the Googles, the Microsofts, and the Amazons. And we provide that underlying critical foundation for their backup as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, or just storage as a service because of the things we deliver with these platforms. They are award-winning across the world, as you can see, whether it be InfiniSafe, InfiniBox, InfiniGuard, just the software alone. We're one of the Power 500 software companies. Remember, the key to the value of what you saw with InfiniSafe and InfiniSafe cyber detection is in the software. In our platforms, the InfiniBox, the InfiniBox SSA, and the InfiniGuard, we use no custom hardware. All the magic you heard about today, what we do is cyber detection, the performance and consolidation capabilities we can do with our neural cache technology, our autonomous automation to cut your CapEx and OpEx. It's actually all done with software. And that is backed up with our white glove support and service. That white glove support and service has been mentioned a couple times. We have been a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for the last 5 years in a row. That's right, the only small company who's a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And in several of those write-ups, Gartner cited our white glove support and service and what that means for end users such as you. There's a number of materials available. In fact, we even have a cyber resilience homepage available. All these links are clickable. We have a ton of information. If you'd like to reach out to Joe directly, he'd be more than happy to set up a demo for your company. If you have any other questions, you can reach out to me. Please let us know what you need. Again, you have our contact information. This, of course, will be downloadable and viewable from our friends at Solutions Review. So I'd like to thank you very much and pack it back to the Solutions Review team. Solutions Review, take it away.
Eric, thanks a lot. Before we wrap things up, there are a couple of questions that I have, and specifically around the demonstration that Joe did, that backup in under 20 minutes, under 15 minutes. How do you do that? I mean, without breaking my brain, I mean, what is it that you guys have
Sure.
developed that allows you to make that happen?
So what we've done is we've developed very unique technology around our snapshots, whether they be read-write or in the case of InfiniSafe, immutable. This allows us to near instantaneous recovery. If you weren't using it for InfiniSafe and you just happened to delete data by accident, let's say you had a read-write snapshot, you could recover that snapshot on InfiniBox or the InfiniBox SSA in a minute or less, including if it was 5 petabytes or 10 petabytes. So that unique technology is what allows us to have this rapid recovery technology and why we're able to put the guarantees on recovery, whether it be on the InfiniBox SSA, or on the InfiniGuard.
So you guys clearly have a very powerful demo, and you certainly, your presentation is very well polished, and I'm sure you've done that more than a few times, and I've got to believe it's incredibly highly impactful. What ends up typically being the next step when you talk to folks and present that that demonstration that you just did? I mean, what's the path that you're really walking people down, and what do you suggest in terms of how they engage?
Well, a couple things. So first of all, we'd be more than happy to do demos. We do offer both a virtual proof of concept and physical proof of concepts. We have a virtual POC that enterprises can undertake. Obviously, you developed that during the COVID era when people physically couldn't test things. Needless to say, we've been very, very successful. We grew in 2021. We publicly announced that, even though we're private. We grew in 2022, even though we're not publicly traded. And we grew in the first half. We just announced that a couple of weeks ago by 29% in the first half of this year. So despite the economic turbulence, and from our public competitors, almost all of which who have had in the first half lower numbers, we actually grew 29%. So whether you use that virtual POC or physical POC, be more than happy to do that. We believe, put your money where your mouth is, test, and we can show, whether it be the InfiniSafe angle or something else. We have a customer, for example, who bought our Infinibox SSA all flash. They bought that after doing extensive testing, us and 8 other vendors. All the testing was real world, not storage nerdiness. Like I said, I'm almost 70 years old. I've grown up with all this storage nerdiness about IOPS and bandwidth and latency. There's all kinds of tests that storage guys can do you. Well, guess what? This Fortune 100 customer did all their testing with Oracle RAC and SAP, real world with a stopwatch. The closest any of the competitors came was 3 times slower. And that was the number 2 guy. So we encourage you to really run this thing, put it through its paces, and we know that we can stand up against anything. So you start with a demo, let's get to a POC. We'd be more than happy. And of course, we have a number of public references through the Gartner Peer Insights, or we could set up a phone call with any of our other major customers if they need that.
Yeah, and obviously we would encourage everybody watching this in our Solutions Review audience to reach out and at a minimum, go to infinidat.com and see everything that they have on the site, everything that we're covering on Solutions Review about the space. But we also encourage people to reach out and begin to engage. I mean, regardless of how it all ends up, there's no better way to find out where you fit and where you're at risk than to start to talk to professionals like Infinidat and Eric. One last question from me, Eric. You know, we know that this space is a have-to-have, right? There are nice-to-haves and there are have-to-haves in enterprise technology. This is a have-to-have. I'm curious because there's always folks who are, you know, thinking about it and maybe not quite ready to take that step to engage. What advice would you offer folks who are maybe thinking honestly that they're kind of whistling past the graveyard a little bit? They think they have something, maybe they aren't fully convinced. What advice would you offer to somebody who's maybe not fully engaged yet?
Sure. So I think there's 3 things. First of all, you got to realize that almost all the data in the enterprise sits on storage such as ours. So if you're going to have a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy for the whole company, okay, you can't just look at edge protection, if you will, the Great Wall of China to keep the bad guys out. You can't just track people down. Okay, remember, Robin Hood was inside of Nottingham Palace all the time, and the sheriff of Nottingham never figured it out. So you need to make sure that you're very comprehensive in your strategy, your networking, your edge, your applications, your server base, and clearly your enterprise storage, or you don't have a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy. It's as if you go on vacation and leave your back door wide open, not even unlocked. You just leave it open. You might as well put a sign on top that says, "Come steal my stuff." So you really need to include storage in that. And you're going to find out that it's just as essential as disaster recovery and business continuity technology. And we encourage our customers using InfiniSafe to test it every month, just like you would if there was a fire, an earthquake, a tsunami, whatever could destroy your data, and you practice that. Well, guess what? Malware and ransomware is just as disastrous as an 11.0, which doesn't exist, but 11.0 earthquake or a giant volcano. It's just as bad. So you really need to make sure that you're protecting. Again, it's going to cost the industry $8 billion in cyber attack. And that doesn't count the testing you do, the software you buy. It's just counting how much is going to get paid out to these criminals. Do you really want to be someone suffering that?
Yeah, I think that's outstanding advice, and really looking at the big picture is always good advice. You guys are clearly well buttoned up here. That was a great presentation. This is the reason why we love doing solution spotlights. very specifically so that we can get a deep dive for our audience into something that matters, something that's really, top of the league in terms of solutions. This was a great walkthrough. Eric and Joe, we very much appreciate the time today. Thanks very much, and best of luck going forward.
Great. Thank you very much. Love being on Solutions Review. You guys are the best.
Thanks. Well, there you have it. Another solution in our spotlight. We want to thank Eric and Joe for that fine presentation, and we appreciate your participation as well. Until next time, I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review. Thanks for watching.